there, here we are doing another card for the Butterfly Brilliance series, and this is the one I'm going to show you what I did and how I did it today. So it has some watercoloring that's quite easy, and I'm not a great artist by any means, but I'm quite tickled with how that turned out. And I chose Flirty Flamingo and Daffodil Delight, and therefore did the Daffodil Delight for the card base and the stamping, but you could choose whatever colors you like. Greens and blues would look awesome. All kinds of things, purples and pinks. So I'll just go through what I used and what I did. I, of course, used the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set along with the large die, which this is obviously not to scale, or not the full size. So I stamped it with my Stamparatus, again, similar to one of the other videos you have, with black Memento ink because I was going to watercolor it. Then I cut it out, and you can see that I used a full half sheet of cardstock to do it, because for this layer, our first layer, the die and the stamp do not fit, as you can see. And I wanted to have the full thing. And now I am going to keep this and use it as a stencil with my blending brushes for coloring background of another card that I'll show you. So I have that, I have the dies, and I still have a number of them, and I'm going to show you how I watercolored them. For the background, I used the Dainty Diamonds embossing folder. And what I've started doing, because I've got a variety of embossing folders, some need 2 plates, some need 1, some need this, some need that. I've started actually writing on it what plate I use with it in the cut and emboss, and it's saved me a lot of frustration. For the greeting, I used Happy Thoughts, which is the total word set, but I love the words in it. I used Happy Birthday, and on the inside I used Just Wanted to Send You Some Happy Thoughts. And to cut out the Happy Birthday, I used this die from Painted Labels. And I just want to, while I'm on that, I want to show you how I got a little bit of extra texture on that. Bring this up to the camera. Can you see this extra ridge around here? And it's a little haphazard, but it does work well if you take your time. I was kind of rushing. So I cut it out, then leave it in the die, and use your tool from the you have one on your Take Your Pick tool, or this one is from my scoreboard, and just run it along the inside. And again, I'm not doing a very good job, but the inside layer of that die, and it gives you just an added dimension. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. And I'm sorry, I don't remember where I got it from somebody, obviously. So for my card pieces, I have my Daffodil Delight, and this one is 4 1/4 by 11. I thought I would do a different layout. So it is going to stand this way as opposed to this way. So I have that. I have my Dainty Diamonds, which will go on there. Then I have my inside layer, which I will stamp in my Daffodil Delight. I always like to do my stamping prior to putting my card together so that I can redo it if I have to. Make sure it's in the camera. So there are my words for the inside. That's going to need a little bit of drying. My coloring of my butterflies will need a little bit of drying, but we'll carry on and get it done anyway. So you could have used, of course, your cutouts from there, but I wanted to share with you some of the coloring, and I did do one that wasn't quite wide enough, so I've got some edges that, is that the one I used? That is the one I used there. That one's a little big. That little guy will do down there. And I might have two. So again, like we normally do, work in threes. If I use this one, I think I'm going to mount him. I will use that one. I'll show you. I'll just mount him off the edge so it looks like I purposely did that. So again, case to keep them in works awesome. I need a paper towel. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of watercoloring here. And they're stamped with the black memento so that you can color them. And I'm going to use our water painters. They come in a pack of 3. So there's a wide brush, which is really wide, so I'm not going to be using that one. There is a large one and a smaller one, and I'm going to use the small one. And just a word, if you do get these, or when you do get them, because they're awesome tools, when you go to fill them, they turn the opposite direction as to what we're used to. So just to be aware of that. So I take my ink, and with the old style pads, you could push on them to get ink on the lid. But because I want this color to be vibrant, I'm going to add some of my ink refill. And again, just I've recently done some Facebook Lives and videos on ink refills. Just a reminder that every year Stampin' Up! Does retire their in colors, therefore some of the inks will be gone, and if you don't buy your refills when you buy your stamp pad, now's a good time to get them. So for the ink, I'm going to just add a little bit of water. You can see it run, it's a bit darker there, and I'm just going to start in the center and color there, and then kind of flick it out to give him her, a bit of the Flirty Flamingo color, and kind of my kind of coloring, because it doesn't have to be exact. And I do like the blends for coloring as well, don't get me wrong, but this is just a different effect. You could, like I said earlier, you could certainly use different combination of colors, whatever you feel. Butterflies, if you look them up and you want to do exactly what butterflies are, that might be a different color totally. So I'm going to do the center just a bit darker like that, coming out. Then to clean the brush, it's just a matter of running it on a paper towel like that until it's clean. I'm going to leave that there because I am going to add a little bit more afterwards. So maybe I'll lay the other one out over here. So I've got the Daffodil Delight, same idea. I have always, all my years of stamping, bought my refills when I buy my ink pads. And lots of times I have lots left. I'll be the first to say I don't use them all, but I really like some of the techniques you can do with them. And I like the fact that when my ink pad needs it, I can certainly add more ink. So then for the yellow, I'm just going to start on the outside and bring it in to meet with the Flirty Flamingo. This technique I saw done by a demonstrator out of Australia, Alyssa Tilsner, and same thing. She said it wasn't difficult. It gives you the color and a great way to color this flutter of butterflies. We lots of people doing these butterflies and having and sharing great things with them. A friend of mine recently did a video, and her question for those watching was, what do you call a group of butterflies? And of course, Google helps with things like that. But in the end, she did come back and say she had looked it up, and it's either a kaleidoscope or a flutter of butterflies. And because we all decided as we were watching it, couldn't spell kaleidoscope, so we were going to call it a flutter. So I have done, I'll show you my first card. You can do this on your basic white paper. You can do it on, probably on very vanilla. I would just really recommend that you do stamp with the memento so you can color and it won't run. If you stamp with a different color, it will, and add water to it like this, it is going to run into your colors. So there, quick and easy. My butterflies are colored. I'm just going to clean my brush again by squeezing till water comes out and running it on there. I'm done with my yellow. And if I could figure out how to get the case shut, there. I'm going to go back to my Flirty Flamingo and just, again, add another layer, which will make it a little bit more vibrant coming out. So, paper, I was mentioning the paper, the shimmer paper. We have white shimmer paper that is pretty. The other thing that I didn't do on here because things weren't quite dry, you could also add Wink of Stella when it's finished. But I think with adding the rhinestones like I did, it gives it enough bling. Look at that one. He's a pretty uneven butterfly, that guy. So you could go over 2 or 3 layers. Whoops. Looks like I'm shaking the camera, sorry. 2 or 3 layers if you wanted more color. If you happen to have a favorite butterfly that you know the color of, it'd be kind of neat to do that. So there's my butterflies. And just clean that, put the lid back on it. I did mark mine with small, large, and of course I don't know if I marked that one. No, it's a wide one anyway. So that is my coloring. My stamping is done, my coloring is done, and I will, you can see, and I can see it with my eye, but this one is done on the shimmer paper. Just a little bit of shimmer in here, if you can see it or not on your part. But so let's put our card together. What I did with the butterflies, just before I get there, let's put the base on. And because I'm using a embossed layer that has some ridges and whatever, it's really a good idea to use this liquid glue because it'll get in those grooves. So that is my outside layer. Again, sorry about that. I will move it up. This is my inside layer, and because I have this glue here, I will use it. And then I'm going to use dimensionals for the rest of the pieces. Again, where I have ink like that, I like to burnish from the back side so that... Now, this I will use... my dimensionals. I'm going to just put a couple of them on here. I think I'll wait with that just to make sure my butterflies fit. I'm going to bend the butterflies up like this, the center, and then gently roll their wings. And I can feel that the ink is still a bit wet there, so don't want to pull on it too much, but that's, so if you bend with your fingernail gently, and the same on the big guy, and I'm holding it because I don't want to tear it when it's still, like I say, quite damp. So then, to get them to stand the way I did on there, I did put mini dimensionals in the middle, and try not to flatten out my crease that I made. And a couple on these little guys. And yes, they will flatten a little bit, but they will hold. So first of all, this little one with the cut edge, the cut wing, I have to try and place him so that he's on an edge. So I'm going to put him just like that. So he looks just like I needed to cut that. I see this one has a little bit of a cut edge over here. So I'm going to do the same with that guy. And not push it down too hard yet until I get the rest organized. So to hold these raised wings, what Alyssa did, and it seemed to work when I did it as well, was to put a dimensional in there so that when you go to place that, it holds it up a little bit. I'm going to do that one that way this time. So again, no rhyme nor reason, just wherever you like them. I've got my, that one really flattened, but like I say, I don't want to mess too much with it because it's still wet. We'll see after it's dry. And then I'm going to put my happy birthday up there. And then, of course, what's a card without bling? I really do like this one with the bling on it better. So I'm using Champagne Basic Rhinestones, and I don't have any big ones left on there, so I will open another package. Because I really want these large ones on the top of this guy, and these middle-sized ones on these two. And then I will go back and add the rest from these smaller ones. I tend to use my paper snips as tweezers for doing this kind of thing. You could certainly use take your pick tool. Works well. I have a dear friend who has been stamping with me for a long time, and she likes using an X-Acto knife. So whatever works for you. Just a sec, I got that one. My rule of odd numbers, I need to get 5 on this one, so I gotta move those up just a tad. And I'm doing 3 on each. Whoops. Each of, well, maybe my take your pick tool or X-Acto knife would work better, wouldn't it? And just because I wanted more bling, I'm going to add one on there again. So there is our card. You can see this one's a little bit darker. This one I maybe added more ink, I don't know, but they're all a little bit different. And hopefully you'll make some. And I'd love to see them if you want to share them with me. Thanks. Bye for now.